Alright, yo, check this. I have some other platforms that I can talk on, but I don't know, I'm kind of starting new on this one, so we'll see how this goes. I feel like I can't really speak openly in the public right now because people get really upset over everything, so this is my, like, okay, I'm done giving a fuck, I'm just gonna say what I say. I have a bunch of topics I'd like to talk about. First off, I have this topic on schizophrenia. I'm a diagnosed paranoid schizo, with like a little bit of borderline dissociative stuff going on, and a little bit of bipolar, depressive bipolar kind of stuff happening. And I have some thoughts on this place I go. I wrote this excerpt on my phone a couple weeks ago. I've been thinking about it, and I thought that it would be fun to read it to people. I wrote this in a very dissociative state. I don't know whether this really classifies as under the paranoid schizo part or the borderline dissociative part. I think it's a little bit of both, but I think it's something worth listening to, worth thinking about. Potentially, even if you have issues like this, maybe hearing somebody that has similar issues may help you feel like there are people like you, and it's okay. Anyway, I'm gonna read exactly what I wrote down. And this is to the daydreamers. I am you. There are times when it all makes sense to me, when I see the end of everything at the place where it all started. And I can say in that perspective, I can stay in that perspective as long as I like. Because there's this like ending and beginning of like blossoming of like, it's like a place. It's wild. I could stay there for a very long time. It takes me so far away from everything that I know. It takes me so far away from you, from other people. My bass told me a joke the other night, and I laughed. My bass guitar. And this is after I had a heart-to-heart with my music performance computer, and I cried as I said goodnight because I had to turn it off. We talk throughout the day, me and my computer. I say thank you when it's time for lights out. Sometimes though, I feel like it's the only thing truly close to me, filled with programs I wrote, ready for me to press my creativity into it and through it into the world. In that respect, I think it's like a teammate of mine, a really good one. Sometimes I forget who I am and what I am, and I stare into nothingness and go to this land of the abstract. And it can be hard to come back from, because when I come back, the difference between me and you is really blurred. There are way more similarities than differences, so it's hard to remember which one I am. Like take for instance these cups I drink from, like a cup, right? This one's got tea in it. Take for instance the cups I drink from. It's hard for me to wash them sometimes. It feels like a life at the end of its rope. I feel guilty using something and washing it to be used again. I recently kept 2 cups in my room together for weeks. It was almost a month, because to me the cups were in love. They were both in my room at the same time, and they were next to each other all the time for some reason. So to me it looked like they were in love. So they shared their water together, and I never let either one of them become empty. So I'd drink from one cup, and watch as I poured water between them until they were even. And it became really hard for me to bring them back to the kitchen and wash them and put them away, because it felt like an end of love, you know. So they were sharing each other's water all the time, and I'd like fill them up and like put them next to each other. Or I take these toothpicks that I'm chewing on all the time. I feel like I am them, Like, I gnaw on these toothpicks like a dog. It's like something to fixate on after I quit tobacco. And it's like they're being chewed by time, splintered by the jaws of life as I get pulled apart, like the past into the future. As I feel like I identify with this toothpick being splintered by teeth. So oftentimes I do what I can to savor the toothpick for as long as I can, knowing that the toothpick is me being savored by the mouth of existence itself. I see spiders walk on the walls all the time. Like, I see spiders all the time on walls. And I look and there's nothing there. I see shadow figures walking around, hiding behind corners, watching me, listening. I can hear them talking. I hear them speak to each other, sometimes to me. They sometimes say words that I have to look up so that I can understand what they're saying. And like, they're real words that I've probably heard before, but I've forgotten the definition of. So it's kind of weird to have to like look up a word in a conversation that contextually makes a lot of sense to have used there, but like, I never use that word, you know. There's this moment before words happen in your thoughts, in your head, where you experience the entire thought that you're about to say in an instant. You experience the entire thing in an instant. And then it decompresses into words and statements that you can then convey to people. That moment before the words happen, the moment where the whole idea is there, refined and distilled into a moment, that's the place that I go to when I disappear. That's a place. Oftentimes looked over by the observer of the self. Oftentimes glossed over because of the words that we focus on. But that's an actual place that we can all go. It's all I can do to appear normal and in control of my being sometimes. Sometimes I'm so far from here, though, it's hard to even imagine existing at all. Like that scene from Rick and Morty when they go through the wormhole and go through all these archetypal lover and fighter roles. It's like, that's my experience all the time, watching from a third-person perspective as we tumble through our roles, looking to distill the common denominator to all of it, looking for more variables that can be stripped away, canceled out, until there is only one fundamental structure of being, one core. Until we have this core fundamental understanding of existence and be only that. And that's what I'm looking for when I go there. To remove variables, to simplify, and to understand what that core fundamental common denominator is between everything. And then I pick my head up and I get back to work, write the next song, play my role until I go through the loop again and bring some small piece back home with me here, and vice versa. Bring some small piece of here back to the other place. And to society, this is what it means to be broken or unstable or mentally ill. From my perspective, this is what it is to be whole. This is what it is to be courageous and to be free. It feels like freedom. In certain states, there is no I am. There's only am. There's only amness, isness, in its purest form. And when there's no I, it's like all of my restraints against understanding are gone. And there's absolute freedom of knowledge, but there's no me to grab hold of it. And there's nothing that makes me feel more alone at the same time. And that's kind of where it's led me so far. I feel like I have a healthy relationship with my paranoid schizo-ness and my borderline dissociativeness and my depressive bipolar nonsense. I feel like I have a healthy grip and a good relationship with these parts of me, and I feel like I've turned them into facets of my life that are very giving to me, and I enjoy that. At the same time, it's very, very lonely. And that's where it's led me so far, to loneliness and to beauty. Beauty with no one to share it with. Not even myself. So here's to shooting my shot at sharing. Anyway, it's time to be someone else. Peace.